Welcome to the show, everyone. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. I cannot wait to start talking to my first guest, who's been on with me once before. We're going to talk about Father's Day and death. I can't wait to talk about it. I have with me Jason Wooten. He's the CEO of Family Tree Estate Planning. Welcome to the show. Before you came on, you were talking to me. You're 18 years in business in October. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the first week of October, 18 years, started with all the arrogance of a 22-year-old like we do, and I've been humbled a couple times over, but definitely proud of what we've built and the families that we've helped and the great staff of people that we have in the office.
It's pretty awesome what you've done. Now, we love to talk about different things here, and this subject is probably one of the most important subjects that people should talk about, and nobody likes talking about it. So we're going to do that here, right?
Yeah, death and money. It's tough to get people really to open up about that.
Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody was listening right now who has never thought about estate planning or hasn't taken care of it yet, what is the first step that they should take?
I'm big on education. I know we talked about it the first time I was in, but an education-based service is how I've built my entire business. And that is, people are going to do business with you for one of two reasons. Either A, they explicitly blindly trust you, or B, they actually understand what it is that you're doing, how it works, and why they're doing it. So for me, it's education's got to be the first step. You either come to a seminar, you schedule a one-on-one appointment, or even do your own research online. Ask ChatGPT, as simple as that sounds. If you give it the prompt, it's going to give you some solid answers.
Well, you can also listen to the show and get some solid answers. And then what you can do is call them and have a consultation. You do free consultations, and you work statewide. His phone number to call is 795-8000, and the website is familytreeplanning.com. So now we're going to go into this, okay? Estate planning can sound intimidating to a lot of people. So what are some of the common misconceptions that you hear, and how do people get, past them?
So many people that we meet, middle class America, they're the people that I think are really targeted the most when it comes to probate, because they just think that they don't have enough assets to need to do any planning.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah, and there's this arrogant belief that people think that, I pass away, my kids are just going to be able to show up with my death certificate, they're going to walk into my bank, or they're going to hire a real estate agent and be able to take care of everything, but that's definitely not how it works. If you think of that bank account that you own, if you were to pass away and your spouse was to pass away, whoever the owners are of that asset, when your kids walk in with a death certificate and they remove both owners, there's a lapse in ownership. There's no living person listed on the title or deed of that financial asset. Even if you have the greatest will that's ever been written, the problem is that banker doesn't have the authority to validate that will to determine who the rightful heirs to this money are, to prove that all of the debts have been taken care of. And that is why we rely on probate. I mean, it's a positive system that we have. It's what prevents a scam artist from showing up and reading the obituaries and claiming your accounts. But it's a slow, tedious process that could absolutely be avoided, quite frankly, typically in a half-hour conversation where you actually educate yourself.
And making sure that you take care of them. Even if you've already have one, please take it out, dust it off, and take a look at it. I was just telling him earlier before we came on, I'm in a situation where I might need it, or my girls might need it. I hope not, I'm sure not, but I'm just, making sure all my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed. And, I took it out, and I couldn't believe that there was a lot of things that needed to be changed, and I only did it like in 2016. So things change all the time, but the thing is that you change things, but you don't think about that.
Of course.
Right?
And life evolves, and I think that's one of the big benefits of a trust is most trusts that are drafted are called revocable. Revocable means you can make updates, amendments, and changes to it, while you're still living of sound mind. So as your life changes, as there's marriages, divorces, let's be blunt with each other. Divorces happen, and
they do.
And there's births in the family, and you want to make sure that you've spelled out what your wishes are. What are these contingency plans? What happens with these assets? As you spoke before, being Father's Day, I think that a lot of fathers that I meet, when they become fathers, the very first thing that they do is they run out and buy this life insurance policy. And life insurance is a great tool, and it takes care of the family, it might take care of the kids. And they make these kids beneficiaries of these $1 million life insurance policies. And the problem with that is that money is held in a trust automatically for that child because they can't receive it until they reach the age of 18. But on their 18th birthday, you're hypothetically giving this child $1 million check plus whatever interest that's grown. And I can tell you, Carol, I don't know many people that I genuinely believe if you would have given them a 7-figure, 6-figure check at the age of 18, that it wouldn't have had a negative impact long-term on their lives. So within the trust, you can specify, when you would be comfortable with somebody receiving money. Set it up so that they can use the money for health, for education, for maintenance, until they reach that age of actual maturity, so that they still go to college, they still, get the education, whatever they end up doing. I'm so passionate about what I do.
I love it. I think that it's wonderful that you are, and what I love about the show the most, and people tell me this all the time, is the information that people can get from listening to the show. And you might be listening and it's your parents that you might go in and say, hey, do you have your will done? Do you have anything set in place? You better, because now today, if you, and I've said this before on other things, but if you have to prove who you are on Amazon,
Certainly, yeah.
I knew you would
Text
laugh.
me a code.
Right. I mean, just think about what happens when in this kind of a situation, and today in today's world, it's even tighter, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and so you can call them and they do free consultations. He also does seminars, and all your seminars, are they on your website?
You know what? We need to be better about listing the seminars on the website. We tend to bounce around the state based on how the weather is. So quite obviously, we're not going to be going
Lucky
to
you.
Lake Havasu City anytime soon. But when the weather's hot, we try to go up to the high country.
Okay,
And,
so it's interesting, but they do these seminars as well that you can get in on, as well as you can call them and have a free consultation. The phone number to call is 602-795-8000. The website is familytreeplanning.com, and he works statewide. We only have a couple of minutes, so I wanted to go back over here. What happens when someone dies without the will in place? What happens?
Yeah, so if somebody passes
You're
away,
in trouble.
Yeah, short answer. When somebody passes away and they don't have anything in place at all, again, the burden of proof for those beneficiaries is they're going to have to go through a state process. Now, the wonderful news is when it's a small estate, when somebody owns assets under about $75,000, they can do this thing called a small estate affidavit that can be done by a paralegal a lot of times. Sometimes they can even do it themselves. But the reality is somebody who owns financial assets, if you own your home and you haven't actually taken the time to sit down and talk to somebody about this to actually learn how it works, you will be in a position where the family goes through a probate process, and the state of Arizona requires 6 months from the date of passing before they'll sell real estate.
You see, that's where else but on Networking Arizona you might not hear something like that. And the best thing is to have that consultation with him. If you've already got one in place, please dust it out, take it out. Do you do second opinions?
100%.
Yeah.
We're happy to review documents that are in place. If nothing else, read back to you exactly how it's set up. There is a really important detail with trusts especially, that you need to have, your assets need to say trust as either the owner or the beneficiary. Some people have this misconception that just by drafting the document and writing the name in there that it's going to do the job, and it doesn't.
No, and by the way, I heard my friend who was also with me, she had one that we dusted off. Guess what? She had written all over it, the changes had to be done all over, because you're not allowed to do that either.
Well, I'm excited to fix both of these for you guys.
Well, the number to call them direct is 602-795-8000. It's familytreeplanning.com. Okay, well, so I can give you her information. Mine is done, but that's okay. But absolutely, in all honesty, I think it's important that they hear that you, again, the education part of what you do, okay? I think I'm here right now. I'm using this just for the information here.
I don't care
this
if you have it all. I like the conversational aspect of it.
Okay. Now, one thing that we are is we're live here in this room right now, so that's a little different. That's okay. They like that, they
All
love
right.
it, it's the behind scenes.
Okay.
So we're still live, so we can talk a little bit further. That's what's cool about these 30s as well,
Yeah.
is that you can talk a little bit more. You know, I know we're not on air, and I know we're gonna come back and talk about this, but what is the number one mistake that people make?
Oh, I love this. Grandma gets sick, and so they say, hey, we're gonna just put the property in mom's name, and then mom's gonna be able to sell it when she's gone, and because it won't go through probate, they won't have that lapse in ownership because mom's name is already on there. The problem with that now is when you go to sell that property, because mom didn't inherit that property from grandma, she retains the original cost basis. So grandma bought this house in South Scottsdale for $50,000, back in 1970. Now they're selling it for $1 million. $950,000 of that now is a long-term capital gain that you wouldn't have owed any income taxes on if you would have inherited through a probate or through a trust. So you've taken something completely income tax free and you figured out how to make it taxable.
That's
Uncle
probably-
Sam loves it.
Yeah, probably that happens a lot.
More often than you would think.
I bet, because a lot of people think I'll just, put you on a deed or something like that, a quick claim.
Quick claim, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me check this. It's just really loose.
It's
This at the base.
down at the bottom.
But I'm not gonna touch it, so it's
We're
not
on,
your pleasure.
on Facebook right now, so can we do this a little bit later?
Hi, Facebook. Yeah, I'll look at it later.
That
It might
doesn't
just need a
bother
new
me.
base.
I'm not gonna mess with it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, the other thing that happens is sometimes they'll say, okay, well, we're gonna appoint the team captain, right? So there's 3 siblings and they just put the oldest's name on that property. Well, when grandma passes away in that scenario, all of those assets just go to that one person. If that one person doesn't want
You just want one?
to share it, they don't have to.
I know.
There's no obligation to it.
Yeah,
And then it's taxable, anything over $15,000 that they give to the other beneficiaries is taxable.
So welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Jason Wooten. He's the CEO of Family Tree Estate Planning. It's Father's Day this weekend. It's a great time to be talking about this because, listen, when you're in your barbecue, you all should just say one thing. Hey, Dad, I love you so much. I just want to make sure that we've taken care of all the things like your will, your trust, and make sure that we're all taken care of. Talk about it. I wonder what would happen. Right?
Yeah, I think there's always a tactful way to have that conversation, but I spent a little bit of time this morning knowing that I was coming in and what this weekend actually was. And one of the things that I can tell a lot of my clients is that when you think about Dad and the man that woke up every day before dawn for all of those years, worked his tail off to accumulate all of these assets, while he may not want to talk about passing away, things like that, he definitely wants to make sure that everything that he has worked his tail off to accumulate over all this time is going to go to his children, to his beneficiaries. Nothing's going to an attorney that's done nothing more than learn your name, learn when you died, and filed some paperwork. Dad wants to make sure those assets go to you, and this legacy that he's leaving is a tale of all of those mornings that he woke up and he hit that alarm clock. And I hope somebody out there actually really is thinking about that sacrifice, either that you're making as a dad or that Dad made for you, because everything that he's accumulated, he's worked his entire life for these things. Let's make sure that they go to the people that he cares about. Don't let the state get involved. Don't let the attorneys get involved.
It's also very important for the parents, father or mother, is to make that conversation easy. Because a lot of times, like my dad, okay, he didn't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And so, if you make the conversation, if we made this conversation easy for everyone, it would be fantastic. But unfortunately, I've said this before on this show, not everybody here we think we're invincible, that we're going to live forever.
It's an uncomfortable conversation to start sometimes, but once you're in the middle of it, it's true. It's business. It's, hey, I want to make sure this is done correctly. And guess what? If you get that diagnosis from the doctor, now it's a rush decision. Now it's, hey, we're trying so hard, Jason, we need to get this trust in place. Believe me, the last thing on your mind, on the family's mind, is coming into my office to sit down and sign some paperwork or make some decisions that then you still have to go and see all these other financial institutions to take care of. The responsible decision is making these choices while things are going well, so that when they have to be utilized, it's already in place.
Now, I know that you also mentioned that, with your money to go to the people that you wanted to go to, but also, this is also for you, for what your wishes are. Because believe me, if you don't have it written down, they're also gonna fight about that too, because Lori and Sally or whatever might not have the same idea for you.
Oh, absolutely. And it's actually funny because I do keep talking about, hey, these are documents for when you're gone, but the reality is some of the other documents that go in with this are your powers of attorney, to say who can make the medical decision for you, who can make the financial decision for you. What are your wishes if you ended up on life support?
Yeah, what happens if you don't die?
Yeah, do you want to be on life support permanently? There was a story, Jesus, is 20 plus years ago, Terry Schiavo in Florida. Woman was on life support for a number of years. Husband finally said enough's enough. She wouldn't want to be like this. And the parents stepped in and said, well, then divorce her. We'll take over her care. Nobody knew what her wishes actually were. So, I mean, those are extreme situations, of course, but it's best to make the decisions ahead of time.
It absolutely is. And it's Friday the 13th, so please do me a
Okay.
favor and take care of these things. Now, I did ask you also during the break to Facebook Land, but we're going to talk about it now. What is the biggest mistake that people make?
So, as I said a moment ago, when you look at like a bank account or a piece of property, a lot of people say, okay, well, I only have one kid, or I can put all of my kids on the title of this property or bank account with me. The problem with that is if you add your name to your parents' property and they pass away, well, you want to turn around and sell that, right? Make it a liquid asset, turn it into cash. You have to keep what's called their original cost basis, which is the original amount that they invested to buy that piece of property. So I'll use a local example. Somebody bought property in South Scottsdale in the 70s for $50,000 or $60,000 that now sells for $1 million. If you inherit that through probate or through a trust or through a beneficiary deed, you get to inherit that at its current market value. You turn around and sell it, you don't owe a penny in long-term capital gains taxes. But if you add your name to that title before mom and dad pass away, you have to keep their original cost basis. So now you sell that property for a $900,000 plus profit. You've successfully taken something that's completely income tax free and you made it taxable, all because you thought that you were beating the system or smarter than the system. Just do it the right way the first time.
The phone number to call them is 602-795-8000. It's familytreeplanning.com. He does work statewide and he does free consultations.
And that's both, we're willing to come to clients' homes as well. If that's your preference, or if you want to come to the office in Scottsdale, we're right off of the 101 in Scottsdale Road.
So you can do it either way, come to them or they can come to you. So how do you handle this one? So do you get the family together and, because again, do you facilitate that for them to have a group talk, or how does that work?
I like to think, going back to what we said before, I like to prefer my system being educational. I want to teach mom and dad what they're doing and why they're doing it. To be honest, I don't want to be a part of that conversation with the kids. I'm willing to, if the kids want to jump on a phone call after a meeting, something along those lines, I'd absolutely be willing to. But I want my clients to be so confident in their answers, in their choices, and their explanation to their own kids that they're able to tell the kids, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it. And if there is something that the kids need to agree upon, great. They're going to lead that conversation because they know what they're doing. They don't need me to.
A lot of times people like to try and do things on their own, and they go up to Dr. Google and they check out, this, and yes, can it be done? Yeah, but is it done right? I don't know, probably not, because everybody's situation is different. And, when you go online, it's just a blanket form probably that they're going to send to you, or whatever, but a lot of things that need to be notarized, things that need to be done that you may not even expect, right?
Without a doubt. I would say absolutely everything could be done completely on your own. And I have clients that I've met that have elected to do it that way, and they've done it successfully.
Okay.
And so I won't even negatively say anything about that, but those are typically people that came from some level of a legal or financial background and knew what they were doing. But the most important thing about a living trust specifically is, again, you can create the greatest trust that's ever been written, but at the end of the day, you have to go and notify your financial institutions and do that correctly. And that's where I think a lot of people run into some problems as well.
Also, people that are dealing with rushing. I had this, somebody that I know is my ex-husband who's probably listening right now, but it's okay. So what I was gonna say is something happened where, the mother didn't expect to have something happen to her, ended up in the hospital, now had to sell the home while she was, literally they were just scrambling, right?
Yeah.
And they thought they had everything all taken care of, and guess what? They didn't. And so again, that makes it so much harder. And this was one that was probably done years and years and years ago. Get him out, dust him off. He'll do a second opinion as well. Please, these are so important. These, all of it makes life just so much easier. Listen, you've passed away, so it's different for you. But for all your loved ones, they deserve to have that. They deserve it.
Oh, without a doubt. There's another document that goes in a trust binder that I love so much, and it details what your wishes are with your remains. I know that this sounds so morbid, and again, going into
What
Father's
is
Day,
it?
it's funny to talk about it, but I meet a lot of men before they pass, and I ask them the question, do you want to be cremated or do you want to be buried? And their God's honest answer to me is, I don't care. But I have news for you. If you write down on a piece of paper, I don't care, that gives so much peace to the family versus having this burden of wondering, my God, what did Dad want me to do?
Mhm.
Did he want to be cremated? Did he want to be buried? Did he want to be an organ donor? Things like that. So to be able to look down at a piece of paper and have the relief of knowing, hey, this is exactly what Mom wanted. This is exactly what Dad wanted. When my stepfather passed away, my mom said to me, the same day that it happened, Jason, one of the things that gave me the most solace today was being able to look down at a piece of paper and remember this is exactly what Randy wanted.
Mhm.
And to do that for your family member means a lot. Like I can tell you, for me personally, just telling you that story right now, I can go back to that very moment and sitting there with the person that you care about in their most vulnerable moment, for them to tell you that you did something that mattered to them. I think that's so powerful.
Also, what's really powerful is to making sure that it's done right.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of times you might do something and it's not done right, and now it makes trouble anyway. So please make sure that you do this. That's number one. What would be your final words today?
Man, if it's not conveyed in these this last half hour, I absolutely love what I do. I love talking about it. I like to think that I make a really complicated subject easy to understand. So if you're on the fence, you're wondering, what should I do? Do I need to do anything at all? What options exist for me? I'll give you a straight answer. Quite obviously, I want to earn somebody's business. The way that I earn business is by teaching, by educating. So give me an opportunity. We work all over the state of Arizona. Come on in the office.
That number to call him direct at 602-795-8000. The website is familytreeplanning.com. He does work statewide. He does a free consultation. Everybody, go have a happy Father's Day, and let's take care of this.